All right, let's get started. Here we are. Welcome to the stream. We actually have audio. Yes, we should be good to go. Perfect, beautiful. Let me bring down that music just a little bit. Maybe skip ahead. Particular OST. No. Sounds okay. Going through one of the Animal Crossing soundtracks. How are you doing? Welcome to this week's stream, in which at some point I'll be talking about the very interesting, what I'm calling the interesting bootleg animation scene on YouTube. The phenomenon of long-running phenomenon, it turns out, of people just uploading stuff, animated stuff specifically, that they have no right to upload from a legal perspective, but at the same time is allowed to continue. For whatever reason, these particular movies are allowed to stay up on YouTube in an unofficial form and completely in full, which is not something you can get away with at all in terms of big properties that people actually care about and that the owners really care about. So I'll get into some of that. I think there's plenty to talk about there, and at the very least, I just think it's kind of fun to sift through and see the kinds of things that people have been uploading for years now. That hasn't been taken down. I don't even know if, these particular videos have been slapped with copyright claims of any kind. Very interesting to me. So I'll get to that. But as usual, here at the start, we'll just kind of hang out and chat for a while. I have the old trusty cartoon brew pulled up, and there are a few stories there that are definitely worth looking into. But otherwise, yeah, here we are. Things are going fine. I do, for whatever reason, I have had a migraine for most of the day, so I might be a little bit lower energy than usual, which is really saying something, but I'm still very happy to be here. And yeah, hang out with you folks. Also, if there's still anybody kind of looking out for my, the next video or something, or they care about that, I do promise there is another one coming relatively soon, but just haven't found the time recently. I've also gotten more and more picky about my on-camera performances. Even calling them performances sounds kind of dumb. It's just me talking, but I have started to be a little bit more concerned and doing multiple takes of everything, rather than just, oh, I did it, I'm sick of this, let's move on. So that also kind of slows things down, and it's even gotten to the point where I'll be deep into the editing stage for a particular video, and I'm like, you know what? This, like, the the take is no good. Like, I don't think this is. I should actually use this. What is it, cat? Oh my gosh, you're really. You okay? Yeah. Okay. Thanks for saying hi to everybody. Whatness says, hey Geo. Basic Geek Nerd here. I had to restart my channel a fourth time this year because I logged out of my email by mistake. Oh no. That sucks. I mean, well, first of all, I kind of like the name Wetness. That's kind of fun. I think you've been picking some good usernames, but that's very unfortunate. So there's like no way for you to get back in there? Do you do like do you have a backup account or anything? I know at some point Gmail forced me to do that on my main account. They're like, "Hey, if there's ever an issue, we need another way to, to kind of reach you and everything." But that sucks. A fourth time. You think it'll hit 5 before the end of the year? Anyway, welcome back. Welcome back. Albeit under a new name, new profile pic. But yeah, thanks for being here. as always, have you been watching anything good lately? Um, anything you would like to chat about this time around? You okay, Kat? You seem sleepy, but not sleepy enough to really stay asleep. Is that it? Is that the vibe? Witness says, witness. I have a recovery phone now. Well, that's good. That's good, yeah, for the two-factor, whatever they call it, yeah. Yeah, I know, Kat. Yes, I know. Yeah. 16 days till the Scott Pilgrim anime, yes. Yeah, it actually, came up in one of these. Yeah, here it is. Which is always helpful. I like it when Cartoon Brew does this stuff, where it's just kind of a roundup. Like, hey, here's what you should look out for this month. And I think they do a pretty good job of highlighting a mix of like really well-known stuff and also things that, like this, international films that have been picked up by Hulu, I guess, that I probably would not have been aware of otherwise. But yes, very excited. Let's see what they say about, probably not too much, but no, not this. Sorry, the mic arm is kind of blocking the screen. How do I usually do this? But now it's like in the... Maybe there. Okay. That is the most original November, so different. Perhaps its highest profile debut. Scott Pilgrim takes off. Oh, is that really what's... Okay. An animation adaptation of the popular graphic novel and feature film franchise. It's animated by Tokyo-based studio Science Saru and executive produced by the original film's director Edgar Wright. November 17th. Yeah, so not too much info here, but I also don't feel like we need that much more info at this point, right? Like, whatever it is, that is what it will be. People will like it or they won't. I mean, I guess it's not a... This isn't, you know... This won't be the last stream before it actually debuts, but what do you think, Wetness? And I guess I'll go with that name for today. Is it all generally still positive for you? Like, good signs all around and you're looking forward to it still? Or is there any kind of hesitation? Today's my birthday. Oh my gosh. Good birthday. Good birthday. Happy birthday, Wetness. Very fun. Hang on. Got a guitar. One Piece volume 61 to 96 will come this weekend. Amazon delays. Oh, it's fair enough. That's huge. Is that like a box set of its own? 61 to 96? Or was it just... I would be impressed if someone was, you know, nice enough to order the individual volumes that she needed next. I've been reading some online. I've been reading some of the One Piece manga online, which is nice. I'm not like a big e-reader kind of person, or I guess I have a tablet, but it's getting a little old. But I like that too. Having the volumes would be fun. The physical volumes, I just think it would be way too much, you know? Just in terms of storage, basically, there's not a lot of... There's no room left, in fact, in this room. But my gosh, you got a guitar. That's incredibly exciting. I mean, I guess I do have one on the wall here, so I would be very interested. Do you play guitar already? Or is this you're learning to play it for the first time? Also, what kind? I'm happy to talk about music stuff, too. It's not an official box set. It's a bundle deal for about 119 US. Okay. Okay, that seems pretty good. Seems pretty good to me for a price. I especially with manga or long-running book series, I do like having the option of a box set, especially if it comes with a really nice dust cover. I think a million years ago I talked about getting the Series of Unfortunate Events box set, which, what do they call it? The Complete Wreck or something like that. But it has custom, Brett Helquist illustrations in the giant dust cover and everything, and it's very nice. I think it's a very nice looking box set, and a fun little collector's thing, not in terms of value, but just personal value, sentimental value. I think it's really nice. What says it's the 3-in-1 oh, okay, 3-in-1, so they take up less space. 3-in-1 volumes for the one piece, and you got a Gibson. That's great. That's great. It's really cool. I assume you. Well, if it's electric, I assume you also got a little amp or something, right? Practice amp. I still have actually my original. I got a guitar at 8th grade for the first time. That's when I got a guitar for the first time. And I still have. Well, I still have the guitar, which I've done all kinds of things to, but I also have the little practice amp I got originally right here next to my desk. It's a tiny little thing and very cheap, but I still like it. I don't care too much about fancy equipment anymore or anything like that. Even this Fender, ooh boy, even this Fender on the wall is pretty cheap. It's a Squier, so it's one of their cheapest lines. But I love it. I love it just the same. Swap the pickups and everything. But no, very exciting. Very exciting to hear about the guitar. That'll be a lot of fun. And I don't know. You can do some goofy stuff, even if you're not learning all the right things and learning your scales and the music theory. It's still really fun to mess around with, I think. What it says so far, everything about Scott Pilgrim anime looks good. It has one advantage from the live action. The faces can be more accurate. Oh, sure. And you know, not just faces, but I definitely think art direction will definitely be one of the strong suits of the Netflix series here. And it's, I mean, obviously it seems rather faithful to the original graphic novels. But on top of that, you can see elements of the line work in particular here that also just feel like they've been informed in some way by a lot of other contemporary animation. Whenever I see kind of scribbly looking or kind of broken pencil looking lines, thick pencil lines in animation, I tend to think of Small Butera, Small Boo, and a lot of their work. And I doubt they were the first ones to use that particular style, but that type of line work has continued to be incredibly popular in contemporary animation, and I would argue, especially in web animation. But there you go. That's a bit of a ramble on that. But I would agree. I think do I dare look at any of this trailer right now? Maybe in another window here, I could take a look again just to remind myself. But yeah, we've seen very little. I still feel like we've seen very little, and maybe that's to its benefit. You know, maybe it's a good thing if we just get it all at once when it actually arrives. But there you go. Yeah, Scott Pilgrim's. That's very exciting. Is there anything else here? Oh, wait, a Blue Eye Samurai. I might have heard of one other time. But okay. X-Ray Samurai. It's not a Japanese production, so that's interesting in itself. The title is also, I would argue a little contentious. Invincible. I've definitely heard good things about Invincible, right? Were you talking about Invincible Witness / Geek? And Aqua Teen Hunger Force. I have a tiny little rant to share on that as well. When it says, yeah, they released the OP yesterday. Oh, sorry, I missed another one. When it says, I was hoping for Avril Lavigne to do the opening. She's Canadian and a known anime fan. One Piece being her favorite. Oh, okay, that's a little surprising. And she even did a song for one of the movies. Okay, gotcha. I wonder what kind of prices she's commanding these days, though. You know, maybe they were just like, no, we can't justify. We can't justify the Avril Lavigne cost if it is indeed substantial. Okay, yeah, really quick. I just found out about this now, before the stream started, that there's a sort of semi comeback for Aqua Teen Hunger Force. It appears to just be 5 new episodes, the first new stuff since 2015, at least according to this article here. First of all, just I didn't know it had been such a long gap, and it's funny too because even when I was growing up, even when the show was relatively new, and then in the later years, it just felt eternal, like it was the Adult Swim show to me for the longest time. It was never one that I was especially interested in, so there's that. But it just felt like something that would always be on, almost at the level of Family Guy, but obviously not at the same level of appeal. You know, not the same broad audience as something like Family Guy. So it's interesting at all to hear that it got left off, and even more interesting to me that it's coming back in any way, shape, or form. And I've gotten to the point with the reboots in particular. I don't care if it's animated reboots, video game reboots, movies, whatever. Um, Beyond just, yammering about like, oh, it shows a general lack of creativity and just, oh, things with name recognition get priority all the time. Beyond that, I'm a little bit worried that nothing is actually allowed to die. Like, I think there is value in a show's death or a property's death, um, being left behind or even ending early in certain situations can enhance appreciation for a particular show or project or whatever it is. Why are some of these Animal Crossing songs like bells and music boxes? I swear, not that much of the soundtrack actually had this stuff in it. Sorry, this sounds a little bit nicer. Um, Here's the bells again. I swear to God. Good. This is a nice track. Anyway, Aqua Teen Hunger Force. Not really my thing. If it is just coming back for a handful of episodes, fine. Though I get the feeling that this is kind of a test. A test. See if it moves the needle at all in terms of max subscriptions and all that. But I don't know. I don't really plan on looking into it too much. Okay, Hulu, what else we got here? Yeah, so two international features that apparently Hulu will be streaming in November. One is a Ukrainian movie called Mavka, the forest song. And then what's the other one? It's Katak, the brave beluga. So there you go. From Quebec. All right. Again, things I probably wouldn't have heard about if for one thing the website didn't talk about them, but also just as a streaming service. That's kind of neat. I don't really have a good sense of where Hulu fits into the contemporary streaming landscape at this point. I just they were one of the earliest, to be honest, that really started to have a presence. Netflix obviously was kind of the first one that I really remember getting into. But they also have started to feel old-fashioned in certain ways, despite being wrapped into the Disney Fox situation at this point. And I just don't tend to think of Hulu very much. It's not a part of my routine or even mental routine at this point. So I don't know if they're in dire straits. I would assume not, if they have Daddy Disney backing them up. But I do appreciate this kind of thing. Grabbing stuff that people probably would have missed, especially in the US. What it says, the FNAF, the final Five Nights at Freddy's film, was decent. As a lot of kids and young adults my age, I have memories associated with the game. I try looking at it with a non-biased view. The jump scares are good. Could have been better if rated R. And the Matt Pat cameo was nice. Yeah, that's another Hulu one, right? No, it's not. It's is it Peacock that got that one? Either way, I guess I'm glad to hear it. I mean, I don't like Five Nights at Freddy's, specifically because of the guy behind it and what he uses his money for and all that. I have no interest in supporting him. I'm also not especially interested in the property itself, but I get it. It's neat that it has become a kind of legacy property already, even though it feels to me like it was just a month or two ago that it really blew up online and became this huge thing. A couple other things here that seem kind of interesting. Looney Tunes has a new movie called The Day the Earth Blew Up, which I was hoping, when I saw that headline, I was really hoping that it was some kind of a lost Cold War era Looney Tunes movie that it just, wasn't released at the time and it was dug out of the salt mines. That is not the case. It is a brand new Looney Tunes movie, and it is not about the Cold War or nuclear warfare at all. It's about aliens, I guess. And I don't know if I have much else to say about it. But yeah, they're shopping it around at the AFM. It's a film distribution market. So I guess it doesn't have distribution already, which seems strange given that it's a Warner property, but whatever. High in the Clouds is a Paul McCartney property. I guess he was involved in some book about a dystopia where music is outlawed or something. And that's bad. Which is funny to me because I feel like that is also the premise of several other storylines written by other famous rock stars. In particular, The Who. I used to be a big Who fan when I was growing up. And Lifehouse, which was kind of an unfinished rock opera project they were doing for a while, I'm pretty sure had the exact same plot of like, oh no, a dystopia or music's not okay and rebellion's not okay, but don't worry, the music people are here to save the day. It's a little bit egotistical, I guess, but then again, if you're Paul McCartney, like, yeah. Like, I could understand why maybe Paul McCartney has like this really what I would call kind of elevated view of the importance of music. I don't know. That sounds cynical. It could be neat, but Michael Giacchino's working on this one. Fun for him, right? Wouldn't that be fun if Paul McCartney called you up and he's like, "Hey, I'd like you to work on this movie I'm doing." You would say yes. Please pay me $4 million. What else we got? Whatness says, yeah, it's a Peacock movie. Okay. Aliens, I wonder who's behind that Kafka. Marvin. Oh, I thought you were going to tie it into like a government conspiracy thing. But I could see Marvin being involved in some kind of conspiracy as well. Also, good deep cut. I would consider Marvin kind of a deep cut for Looney Tunes stuff. Did you say Ozzy dresses as Kanye for Halloween? Not blackface, just one of Kanye's... Oh, did I see it? I did not see that. And I am afraid to Google that. But I will off screen. What is... Ugh. Okay. I did not see that. I have seen it now. It's a couple's costume as well. All right. Yeah, okay. I don't know. I don't know. It's just a me thing. I'm not hugely into celebrity parody costumes. Maybe if they're really clever, I don't know, but it's just not really my thing. But yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I am appreciative that it didn't involve blackface. I guess that goes without saying, but all right, man, if that's what he's into. You know what? This New Leaf soundtrack is not delivering in the way I thought it would. This is kind of nice. Okay. Anyway, that's that. Yeah, so Paul McCartney, there's an animated movie coming at some point. And again, this is another movie shopping around for distribution and such. Night of the Zoopocalypse, have not heard of either, which makes sense. It doesn't, it's not out yet. But doesn't this wolf remind you of... No, it's not Alpha and Omega. But doesn't this wolf remind you of another animated movie wolf design? What is it? It's not Zootopia, right? Maybe storks? Let me see. Wolves. No, it's not storks. Well, oh, what are you doing? Windows. What? Come on. This exaggerated wolf face? Like, kind of? But it reminds me of something very specific. So if anyone can think of what that actually is, let me know. But it's not coming to mind at the moment. Sloth Lane Embracer Group. Oh no. They've been very active in the last few years in acquiring video game studios and then subsequently demolishing them when they don't feel as confident in the investment or they don't have as much money as they thought they would have. Okay. So they're essentially behind the Sloth Lane. Australian, okay. A sloth family are recovering from a devastating storm that destroyed their family restaurant and home. Oh, so is it like... How should we put this? Is it like, are the sloths supposed to be tied to a specific, ethnicity? Or something? These days, if you mention a story that involves a restaurant or cooking, that's where my mind goes. And I think, again, that's from video games. That's been a big component of games that are trying to integrate, like, you know, the creator's cultural background that's not like a European cultural background, right? Food has been a big part of that, and restaurants and things like that. Anyway, Miss Moxie, I should probably stop. This looks bad. Just the designs. I don't know what that is. Yes, Rebellious. Here, let me give you the tagline. I'd love to get some thoughts. A modern-day fairy tale, Rebellious tells the story of a headstrong princess who, after being kidnapped by an evil sorcerer, refuses to wait for rescue and plots a daring escape. How do you feel about that? And it's one of those things where I really don't want to badmouth it for a number of reasons. But you never want to be seen as one of those guys, right? You never want to be seen as the guy who's like criticizing female-led storytelling or anything like that, or, you know, what is really meant to be empowering storytelling and stuff like that. Obviously, those are good things. But at the same time, I don't know. I mean, depending on where this was actually made and who made it and why, I don't know. They could have a different view of this, but is there a point? Is there a point where just the phrase headstrong princess is allowed to make us roll our eyes? Like, or more accurately, is there a point where we're allowed to move on from that specific, I guess, new trope, right? This new trope that is a rejection of the old tropes. Like, at what point do we get to have other kinds of really, you know, useful and interesting female leads who are not specifically princesses who don't act the way you would expect princesses to act based on past decades, you know, of specifically children's filmmaking? Because it's been a good 20 years at this point. Shrek is one of the earliest examples I can think of that did the self-rescuing princess. So, like, yes, I get the point. I agree with your motivations. But just specifically the princess angle, when do we move on as a people? You know? Whatness says, I love Prison Break movies, so a Princess Prison Break movie seems interesting. That's the thing, like, that angle is really fun. Like, if the whole or most of the movie is just like a really elaborate, we gotta get out of here, And oh no, we had this great plan, but it went, things took a turn, and now we have to come up with, new ideas. That is so much fun in terms of plot. But just, yeah, that premise, that's what starts to I don't know, just make me feel tired. Or it feels tired. And it makes me feel tired as a result. Anyway, things shopped around for distribution. This seems somewhat interesting. A French sci-fi animated feature called Mars Express. G-Kids snapped that up. Oh my gosh. How much do you think they spend at those kinds of distribution events and stuff? My goodness. Also, I really hope these aren't flying cars. I'm kind of done with seeing flying cars as, a typical marker of a future scene. Yeah, we're good. We don't just need to translate cars to sky. Also, I guess YouTube still exists in this future. It also does seem like it's aiming for what a great frame this is, huh? It does seem like it's aiming for a slightly older audience. This doesn't come across to me as something for like young kids, especially with these lips and the word sex. Those make my insightful observation a little less insightful, huh? But also, does G-Kids have to stay limited to kids' content? Kids' entertainment? It is kind of an inherently limiting name, don't you think? Also, Wetness, I wanted to ask, what do you have a favorite Prison Break movie in particular? And based on the lag, whenever you hear me say that, you only have about 5 seconds to decide, and then you have to say it right away. Don't think too hard about it. Okay. Any other news stuff? Probably not. It's not a super heavy week for news of this kind. I need better music. Yeah, I gotta. How about relaxing Animal Crossing music compilation with rain sounds? Would rain sounds be annoying? Let's find out. Oh, this is kind of nice. At least for me. Caffeine is kicking in. We're getting there. We're getting there. But yeah, I'll probably move on and sort of get to the main topic and cruise through some of my favorite bootleg animated movies that I've found on YouTube in the last week or so. And we'll go from there. And yeah, I don't know if we had talked about this previously, but more unionization in animation. I don't think we had talked about this one because previously it was more news about unionizing for VFX people, and I think in the video game industry, right? But yeah, this is indeed is big news, and I'm happy to hear it. As long as unions are able to retain some sort of successful leadership, then I'm on board with unions for sure. Also, I don't get to read this one. This is a members only article, so. But I did see this is what the Great Electric Circus or something along those lines, which is an animated show. I saw it pop up on YouTube, and it said released 2 weeks ago, and it has 55 million views. So, yeah, we can't ignore that kind of thing forever. Wetness says, not really, but G-Kids, I know them for putting out Ghibli films on DVD in the US, and the Netflix Ava. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, G-Kids is well known, of course. And I guess they are known for a lot of the anime stuff that they've distributed in the US, but they do plenty of European animation as well. But I don't know, it is a funny concept. I hadn't thought too hard before about whether or not they have any kind of restrictions in terms of the age rating or just overall rating of the movies that they pick up. So yeah, just a thought. But there we go. All right, let's get rid of this stuff. Save myself a little bit of bandwidth. Okay, now this is the tricky part of the stream because these other users have taken the chance to see whether or not their videos will get taken down. I have absolutely no idea, you know, if they've gotten claims. I have no idea if I will also get claimed for showing clips of these movies. But you know what? I think we're going to try it as long as the stream doesn't get shut down in progress. I think it's okay. You know, if the archive is not allowed to stay up and we get some kind of horrible DMCA, that's another issue. We can cross that bridge when we come to it. So this is one of the ones that I've come across, and there are at least like 6 or 7 different postings of this particular movie. But yeah, it's a 1979 animated version of The Lion and the Witch and the Wardrobe. They call it an American version. I believe the credits said it was animated at a UK studio. So maybe they're just referring to the fact that it has American voice actors, which does seem to be the case. But anyway, this was fascinating to me. I love Narnia. I grew up with the Narnia books. They're great. And of course, Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, I guess, remains the most famous by far, at least based on what I've seen. And to the point where Disney was like, let's start with that one. That was Disney, right? Doing the live action ones? Don't even worry about the first book. That's just like Genesis stuff. We don't need to worry about that. This is a very particular take on just about every aspect. It is very lockstep with the plot of the original book, but in terms of how characters are portrayed and especially voiced, the art direction here, I'll play a little clip from this scene with Lucy meeting Mr. Tumnus here. We all love Mr. Tumnus. But the way that they've dealt with Mr. Tumnus here, I think is very interesting. Let's take a short look here.
Perhaps I may keep the handkerchief?
Of course, dear Mr. Tumnus.
Let's roll it back a little bit. Oh, this is, sorry, I want
I'm here.
their first meeting, which is over here.
The
Somewhere.
wild woods of the west.
Okay, so obviously
Spare room.
Ah,
it's a little rough, just in terms of
I should no
beat
doubt
for
know
beat
all about
animation.
those strange countries.
You can see some,
But they aren't countries at all.
there's like a very obvious separation, right? Between the character cells and the background. So obviously right here you get the, what looks like a shadow, basically, between the character cell on top of the background. And just overall, the coloring, I think, is part of it too. But you can very much tell, oh, here's a flat thing on top of another flat thing. It's kind of 2.5D by accident and not for stylistic reasons. So it maybe wasn't the biggest budget thing, but hey, some more well-known animation has similar issues. Why is Mr. Tumnus red? Isn't he a fawn, not a demon? Thank you for pointing this out. This is exactly what I was going to get to. Let's play a little bit more of this. Animation reminds me of Frosty's the Snowman. There you go. Frosty's another one where, like, you can tell. Like, you can tell the physicality of the cell animation. Okay, but anyway, watching Mr. Tumnus here, my gosh. Yeah, the coloring, the horns also being red, and you'll see some of his facial animations here. They do basically make him look like a demon, and they make it seem like he's scheming the whole time. Now, in the context of the story, like, yes, that makes sense, because what's going on here is that Mr. Tumnus is, he knows the mean lady has told everybody to stay out on the lookout for humans and to turn them in, right? So he does have ulterior motives, but if you've read the books or seen other adaptations of this, you know that Mr. Tumnus is not actually evil. He's just under threat. He's under duress, basically. He has to do what the White Witch says, or he's in big trouble. it's not like he actually wants to, you know, capture and ruin the lives of sorry, it's a little bit earlier in the encounter. I promise though, there's specific shots where he just looks evil. Yeah, like this stuff.
Excuse me.
Oh my gosh.
I don't Inquisitive
And the green hair?
you are a daughter of Eve,
They could not make him look or sound more evil.
but you are. Forgive me.
But it just makes me question, like, how how familiar was the team with the source material? And my general impression is not very. Not very, and it gives the whole movie a very interesting feeling of just being off. It just doesn't quite feel like the story that we all know and love, which, you know, sure would be a point of criticism upon release, but now, many decades later, it just kind of makes the whole thing more entertaining. I think it makes it more fun to engage with, as opposed to watching one of the 8 other adaptations of this movie that all feel generally similar, aside from obvious technical differences and differences in terms of art direction and stuff like that. It is kind of fun, and that brings up a point that a broader point that I wanted to touch on here, which is just that when I was a kid, and maybe a lot of you folks feel the same way, we all knew about these kinds of movies, right? These were the bargain bin movies that you maybe got as a gift sometime, you know, or someone who doesn't quite know the big animation houses. They're like, oh, it's a kids movie, period. I'll get this for the kids. And they're junk. There were a lot of those, especially in the VHS era, and even well into the. I mean, they're still around today, of course. But anyway, the point I'm trying to get to is that always hated it. Always hated this kind of stuff as a kid, right? I couldn't stand it, and I was like, well, obviously the Disney stuff is so much better. The DreamWorks stuff is so much better. I don't want to watch a minute of these movies. Now, I kind of love them, or no, love is a strong word. I feel a greater affection and maybe sympathy for these movies. These kinds of low quality, relatively low budget animated projects based on really famous properties. I kind of love it, and part of that is the, you know, the internet era rise in popularity of so bad it's good movies, but also just I don't know, the fact that I think it's just any animated movie overall, no matter how bad it is immediately more interesting to me than its live action equivalent. Does that make sense? Like, if you do any kind of animation, it can be god awful, and I mean, I do some god awful animation myself just for fun. It's automatically better than really bad live action stuff. You know, even if it doesn't make sense to compare animation and live action directly, I have more fun engaging with it just because it's animation in general. There's some kind of magic. I know that sounds corny. There's some kind of base interest in seeing things, still images appear to be moving, and characters given some sort of life. Yeah, it doesn't matter how bad it is. So in particular, all the stuff I'll be talking about here today is animated stuff, and some of it's not bad, by the way. But yeah, these B or C grade animated children's movies are actually interesting to me, despite how bad they are. It's just fun to watch them. It's fun to see people try to interpret these things. And again, even if they don't know the source material very well, or if they don't seem to be the best at the animation itself, I still have a lot of fun watching it. Wetness says, his hair reminds me of the dude from One Piece who's stuck in the chest. Okay. A very specific callback, but I can see what you're saying there. And hey, like the sort of off-kilter approach to character animation and even just character design, it works really well for the evil characters, right? Like it makes sense for them. It plays into their overall vibe. Actually, I was trying, and there's also a particular voice performance. Check out the voice acting for this wolf.
If you please, sir, my name is Edmund, and I met the Queen in the woods the other day, and
Okay,
I've come to
all
give
right.
you the news
Okay, Edmund.
that my brother and sisters
Okay,
are in Narnia.
okay.
Quite
Your Majesty, stand and wait if you value alive.
So to me, that voice acting wouldn't be out of place for like a spider. You know, like it sounds not just inhuman, but incredibly inhuman. It sounds completely insane. And again, it works for me for all the wrong reasons. This is not something that I think is an especially skillful depiction of the character, but just great. How often do you hear any kind of voice acting like that, let alone for a wolf in particular? Just lovely. I really appreciate it. But I don't know if there's anything else I need to show from this one. I guess we can look at the comments briefly. Oh, wait, never mind. We can't. Not on this one, at least. Upscaled to 4K. Are we really watching in 4K right now? Do I dare? Oh, yeah, you can totally tell the difference. Okay. Anyway, there you go. There's that one. This is another new personal favorite of mine. It's not actually called The Story of Heidi. I think it's listing. This person has decided to talk about how they're 39 years old. I did find this on, was it on Letterboxd? No, I think it was just on IMDb somewhere. It's not called The Story of Heidi. So, I don't know. Maybe that was an alternate title. And this is one that's been around for quite a while. And it seems to be doing quite well, you know. I love this. I love this. And maybe we should quickly check, are the credits included? Yeah, we do get some credits. Okay, I was hoping based on just the names in the credits, we would be able to tell where it was actually produced. I almost got the sense of era-appropriate, like Japanese animation from this one. I don't know why. Maybe because there's also the Heidi anime. But these don't look like, you know, a lot of... Well, that's the cast. I don't see a lot of Japanese-looking names here in the credits. Either way, my gosh, what a take on the story of Heidi, and specifically just the voice actors they got for this. For Heidi in particular, I feel like the character is typically portrayed as quite a bit older. I would think around like maybe 10 years old or 12 years old. This Heidi looks very small and seems to be acted by a very small person. Let's just get a couple of voice clips here.
Are you Peter?
Well, maybe not really.
Yay!
I just thought you'd like me best.
I do.
I love it. This is from the era when child actors or child voice actors in particular were not good yet, or like trained. You know what I mean? They were just saying lines. You get that a lot from the original Peanuts animated shorts, right? But my goodness, Heidi in this. Oh my gosh, what is that? What is she wearing? Try to find some good clips. Can you play? You can load. It's okay. You can do it. It's just a kid reading the lines, but you still get the emotion. Like, I think it's relatively successful voice acting for this character, despite being very basic. And I'm not trying I'm not trying to drag a small child's voice acting. I think it's a positive. But again, it's not trained, it's not heavily directed. I imagine them just, you know, putting this kid in front of a microphone and they're like, okay, say this one line, we're moving on. Make this one sound, we're moving on. And I believe every single bit of it.
Father, the reindeer ate his breakfast right out of my apron.
That's nice.
Yay!
do you see what I mean? I love this. Of all the recent of all the animated stuff that I've recently, the bootleg animated stuff that I've recently come across on YouTube, this one in particular has become a fast favorite. And you know, the story of Heidi itself, I'm wondering if it was something where, even at the time this was made, I assume in the 70s, right? That it was maybe in public domain, or just like, or maybe it was the Wild West and no one was really looking into the rights behind everything. I don't know how the timing worked out on that, but I'm so glad that there's, beyond this one, there are many other bootleg Heidi movies as well. But none of them are nearly as charming as this one, I think. But yeah, just fascinating, and I'm really glad that this one has been quite successful here on YouTube on the back of this definitely illegal, unsanctioned upload that we have here. Would we have any other good? Oh my gosh, someone has the profile pic of the Blessed Mother. This was my favorite, oh, in British spelling, this is my favorite cartoon. I can never forget how much joy it brought to my childhood days. I learnt, yeah, very British. I learnt this trick from here. What? I want to see the trick. It's the thumb trick. Okay. All right. Okay. It taught me the power of love that can heal everyone. Well, look at what a great, this is such a positive. This was my favorite when I was a child, and now I am living Heidi's life. They did manage to spell Heidi incorrectly. But also, which part of Heidi's life are you living? I'm a little bit worried about this because there's some dips in the story here that are not so happy. Watching this makes me feel emotional. Okay. I've read Heidi's story in my childhood, and even I am from the Philippines, a tropical country. It fascinates me and gives me an amazing feeling. How Heidi lived her life during her lifetime along the Swiss Alps. Thank you, Heidi, for being a gift to the world. Is she in the Swiss Alps? Why did I think this was like somewhere in Germany? Anyway, there you go. Highly recommended. You can find it by searching Story of Heidi on YouTube. Really fantastic. Now, this is a weird one. Not the movie. Well, the movie's also kind of weird. There's no way that a troll in Central Park, I can't play any of it, by the way, which is apparently on Stars for official streaming. No way this is legal. And I also think it's kind of interesting that GEM, they're trying to give the impression of this being some kind of official thing. And like, oh, this is a real company, Global Entertainment Movies. Well, let's take a look. Let's see who these folks are. Let's see. Maybe it is real. First result is the YouTube channel. Which we should take a look at just for fun. Please don't play a clip right off the bat. They're gonna do it anyway. I'm gonna guess this is not okay, right? It's a film of the Heidi Girl of the Alps anime series. Oh, there you go. So it is, right? But why were all the production credits like? I thought the anime was animated in Japan. right? Yeah, full movies every day. 52,000 subscribers. I just don't think it's legal. You will find movies for every taste and genre, from dramas to comedies, from science fiction to horror. We work with various film studios to provide our viewers with the best content. We strictly adhere to copyright laws. If you have questions about any feature film, please contact by email. And they're based in Turkey. They've been around for a couple months. I have a feeling they are not allowed to be streaming A Troll in Central Park. Some of this other stuff, maybe Father of the Bride 2 is kosher. But I don't think a lot of the other stuff is. So this is where we get into the dodgy territory. Like, the Heidi flick. I get it. I get it if whoever actually owns that maybe isn't being super vigilant, about unsanctioned uploads and things like that. But Troll in Central Park is no small beans. Is that a phrase? Or like Grand Prix, that's kind of a big famous movie. So Heaven Can Wait, isn't that the Lubitsch movie? Yeah, like no way. No way. It's I don't know. They're either finding some way around the copyright stuff through some kind of sorcery, or they're just not. They're getting tagged. They're not getting takedowns, and they're just rolling with it. I have absolutely no idea. Witness says maybe it's a dub for what, for this? No, I was watching this. This one in particular, I was watching earlier today. It is the original cast. It's and that's the other thing is that the content ID systems go on both visuals and audio, so one or the other will get you tagged, and so that's why sometimes you'll see crazy distortion or effects on things that people don't want to get claimed. Here, it's not happening. Ugo says just got here, but are those movies even in English? Well, I'm not. These other ones, I have no idea. I don't know, but this one I can tell you, watched basically the whole thing earlier today. It's just the movie. It's just the movie. And if I search over here, like Troll in Central Park streaming, let's see what comes up. You can rent it on YouTube. Here's the proof in the pudding. You can. It's not free. There's some shady stuff going on. Witness says no, the Heidi anime, the American names are from the dub. Gotcha, thank you. Just so they were just listing the American cast. Okay, gotcha. I would like to watch the Heidi anime, by the way. I don't know if I would do the whole thing, but it does seem awfully cheery. Anyway. So yeah, absolutely, like 100% a not okay upload. 14% on Rotten Tomatoes, really? Yeah, Prime Video, you pay $13 to watch it there. Let's see what else we got here. Here's what seems to be a VHS rip as well. And this was uploaded 2 years ago. So here's my next part of the theory. Maybe this channel is paying attention to other full movies that people have already uploaded and they've been able to get away with, right? And then they're like, okay, we'll do that. We can get a copy of that. We can upload that. So yeah, some very dodgy stuff. I will be interested to see how long this sticks around. Do you think this abomination has way too many cop outs? Don Bluth admitted this movie is terrible. Wow, guys. People are like fighting out here. I'm genuinely surprised that YouTube isn't ripping down this movie on copyright grounds. Ugo says it has the Stars watermark. Exactly. Yeah, like that's if you paid to watch this on YouTube to rent it or whatever, I don't think you would be getting the Stars watermark. So maybe we should continue to track this and see if GEM, good old Gem, sticks around for a while. But I have a feeling they're not going to be treated very well by any of the rights holders who actually find out about this stuff. What else do we have? Also, how are you doing, Ugo? Welcome back. How's it going? I don't think you missed too much. I rambled about some other animation news for a while, as per usual. And we've been chatting about this. Yeah, and also, if anyone has some recommendations for the majority of what we're talking about here is more like lesser known and really cheap animated movies that have wound up on YouTube that like the copyright holders probably would not care about, right? This person even says, "I claim no copyright." It's like, I'm not even trying to act like this is, you know, this is my thing. But I do find this stuff interesting. I have been enjoying watching a lot of different versions of older adaptations and things that just, yeah, to be honest, like if they weren't showing up in bootlegs, they probably would not be picked up by, you know, any of the major streaming services. We wouldn't be seeing them there. We would probably not be buying DVDs of this movie if we saw it in the store. So in a way, there is a genuine positive angle to the whole thing. And just on a very casual level of personal enjoyment, I love having this stuff on when I'm working during the day, just in the background. You know, like it's not the kind of stuff I ever would have paid attention to as a kid for more than 5 seconds. I just would have been like, this is junk, no thank you. But now I kind of love it. And in one particular case, this next case here, it actually introduced me to something. I had never engaged with any of the Wind in the Willow stuff. I don't know if you guys did as kids. I had heard the name, of course, but that was it. But now, it wasn't this one. That was the first one I came across. I came across the Burbank animation Wind in the Willows movie from, I think, the late 80s or early 90s. And then found very quickly, thanks to YouTube, that there have been a million other versions of the Wind in the Willows and its various subsequent stories through the years. And this one in particular is a pretty interesting stop motion adaptation in which the characters are at least a little bit unsettling. But I don't mind it too much. The general story and end characters of this series are very charming to me. So they could be ugly as heck. And also this horse. Oh my goodness, look at that horse. Oh, I wish I could do one frame at a time. There we go. Look at this horse. If you put your hand over the head, it kind of looks like a pit bull. I don't know what they were really what they were going for with that one. I'm also not sure of who made this stop motion version, but it's really something. Sorry, once again, I'm still not really sure if I'm gonna get copyright claims for showing clips from these things. But yeah, this one really, I kind of get the feeling that this is one of those properties people don't, you know, the owners aren't especially interested in anymore. And like, what is the point? Like, at what point, you know, does someone who holds the rights to any individual junk movie, like some of these, and just say it's not even worth it? Like, it's not even worth it for me to try to monetize this. You know, it's not even worth it for me to try to track down people doing illegal uploads. You could always make some amount of money from it, right? But it says both Spider-Man 67 and 81 have a lot of uploads of episodes on YouTube. Yeah, I think that's another one I saw too. more so the 67 series I've seen pop up on YouTube. And that in particular, just because it's, because it is Spider-Man, you would really think they would care about that and try to wipe that stuff, or at least do official uploads. And it just doesn't seem to be the case. Ugo says, my mom would watch lots of movies that are Russian or Italian or others that are dubbed in Spanish, and that's how they're able to get over the copyright. Yeah, that's a good point too. Like if it really is a different version, I kind of get it. Although, as we said earlier, you still have to worry about the content ID for the visuals. I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit trickier if it's something like this that really does appear to be a like a bad VHS rip or something, like it's in 4:3. The quality is not there. Maybe that makes it harder for the content ID system to pick it up at all. But I don't know. It's especially funny to me because, I've been posting videos for a little while, and there are certain properties, even if they're relatively old, that you just cannot use. You can't use one of them in particular. It's not animated, but Supermarket Sweep, the old Supermarket Sweep show from like the 70s or the 80s. Multiple times has gotten me copyright claims, and I just couldn't believe it. I was like, who on earth is still watching over Supermarket Sweep? Not the current version, a decades old version that no one even talks about anymore. Some stuff you can't even touch. And at the same time, there will be popular properties that you can use a clip maybe even 10 seconds long and it won't get claimed, and it's very confusing and inconsistent, which is frustrating to me. So it's very strange what people decide to track and what they decide not to really care about. Is fascinating in its own right. But yeah, I wouldn't call it an entire subculture here on YouTube, but I would call it a scene. These are bootlegs. People apparently feel quite confident. Most of them are just, innocuous channels or personal channels. Some of them just have a handful of uploads, and this is what they do. This is what they upload, and that's it. They just felt strongly, I guess, that this particular thing should be available online. I maybe you could run ads on this, but again, depends so much on the copyright stuff. So yeah. What says, in all the episodes of the Berserk anime from the 90s is uploaded as a 9-hour movie. So yeah, that's one too. Like, very confusing to me. Like, that is not a dead property by any means. Like, that's very active. Big fan base, and maybe that's part of the explanation too. If it has a big enough fan base, it almost feels inevitable that people will try to upload certain things from it. But you would really think that they would be really harsh with the content ID for something like that. I don't know. I remember my 4th grade teacher showing this movie on the last day of school. I just wanted the summer to start. Oh. Now, do you interpret that as they hated the movie so much they were like, okay, let's get on to summer? Or as like this movie kind of captures, at least in certain portions, the feeling of summer and hanging out outdoors and things like that? I could take it either way. This was a massive part of my childhood in the 80s. I had the VHS and a pop-up book. I still have the book. This is a great film to watch at Xmas time. Now my grandparents and mom are no longer here. The memories oh. There's more. I'm sure a lot of us in my generation, David Jason is not firstly remembered as Del Boy, but Danger Mouse, Count Duckula, and of course Mr. Toad. What it says, you think Berserk and Spider-Man will get claimed, but no. Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, why? And from a business perspective in particular, like, if you have, wow, it's really not loading. If you have no plans to post stuff in an official capacity, then I kind of get it, because it promotes your thing and you don't have to do it. You know, like people might still want to buy the official merch or watch your thing in an official capacity, you know, despite having the availability on YouTube. But I don't know. Most, this is a good example right here. Most, if they know something is popular, they want people to remember it more, it to be more active, they will post stuff in an official capacity. WB Kids, that's one of them. They post official clips, and they do very well, probably mostly with, you know, YouTube Kids audiences. Garfield does it. SpongeBob does it quite a bit as well. I just saw a compilation for season 10 pop up on YouTube. So some of them take the initiative. They think it's worth the effort, the minor effort involved to post stuff on an official channel, and then other ones, they just don't seem to care. My only other theory, I guess, is that certain things might be tied up in conflicting ownership, or like multiple companies might have rights to the ownership. For example, one of the old Spider-Man shows, right? Maybe it's not included in some kind of overall deal for Spider-Man. And so it's not just one company that can make the decision. This happens sometimes with older video games too, where like, okay, it was owned by this company, that company split up and turned into this company. So now there are 3 different companies that have the rights, and they're never going to agree to a re-release. So it comes down to this kind of thing. It comes down to random people who feel passionate about it to upload stuff. This was an especially interesting one. I watched this the other day. It's it's basically a Grinch Halloween special that I definitely had not heard about before. And it's not very good, but if we're being honest, the Grinch Christmas special is also not very good. But also, again, the confusion. So this is claiming to be a museum, right? FuzzyMemories.tv, which seems like not a museum. It's confusing to me who these people are. I would love to talk to some of them. Okay, maybe this is... Okay, maybe it's a legitimate nonprofit. All right. The watermark on each of our video upload is necessary to denote the source of the material, our organization. Okay. 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 But, like, even if it is a legitimate registered nonprofit, I still don't think you're allowed to do this. Like, that doesn't... because you own a videotape that has a recording of it does not mean that you own the source material. I don't know. Maybe it's just a lot of gray area, but 0 likes. Oh, I'm not signed in. Anyway, what else? Do I have anything else really to say about this? I don't know. I think I've been rambling for quite a while. Yeah, it's ultimately a lot of stuff that's just kind of gathered in the sieve. You know, these are things circling the drain and they didn't quite fall through. That just, yeah, whoever does own the rights, they just don't care. They just don't care. They don't think it's sufficiently profitable, you know, to put any kind of investment into. And this is where it ends up. The dregs are just posted to YouTube by people who have whatever motivation. And again, I'm totally fine with it as long as it's not straight up theft. And the straight up theft would come into play if you were specifically running ads on things that you don't own. Original works in full, in particular. It's not just a clip. If it's the entire product that you've just decided to act like you own, okay, it's an issue. It's still funny, obviously, but that's where it leaves the gray area, and becomes just bad. Ugo says TMNT 1987 and 2003 full cartoons are on there too. My goodness. It's got to be a conflicting rights thing, right? For stuff like that, where the properties as a whole are still active, but it's legacy iterations of those properties. It must be something like that. I don't know. Even this, like, I'm pretty sure Fern Gully is available for free on YouTube through YouTube Movies. Why do you have people, unless they're trying to get some ad revenue from it? Why? Very strange. Very strange. Brother. Sorry, I don't speak Spanish. I don't know. This may not have been one of Don Bluth's best movies, but I would rather have his 2D hand-drawn animation around today instead of all the 3D and live-action remakes we get now. Oh my gosh. Thanks for the hot take. Larva Asia. Should have been Larvasia, huh? Movie's such a fever dream. I love it. Did they play this whole movie without commercials, or am I tripping? Yeah, because pay attention. I remember watching this as kid. Philip Glasser Oskus. Asgus? Sorry, I was reading this like it was German, and it's not at all. From slightly awesome moment of bravery to back in your hole with you has me finding this to be the funniest moment in the whole movie. Because of how well it is done, how well done it is, Stanley. Okay. All right, okay. I miss when cartoons were drawn like this. This makes me feel nostalgic for that time, but I don't believe I ever got to see this one. I'm excited to watch it for the first time, even though I'm older now, lol. Green thumb, actually. Okay. Okay, I'm starting to lose my mind. And caffeine crashing at the same time, so I might have to start winding down soon. Why all caps? His singing is very charming. Cloris Leachman as Norga is good. Love Charles Nelson Riley. The dog biting his leg. Cute, but annoying for him. Love the movie. Charming and makes me cry thinking Stanley's gone. Well, thanks again, and stay safe and healthy. Okay, again, I like the positivity. Stanley should open a flower shop. Yeah. Yeah, true. I think I need to... Why do I remember this? Oh my gosh. Okay. Similar to Alice in Wonderland and the Lorax. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm done reading the comments. Anyway, yeah, I don't think I have too much else, honestly. I have been enjoying going down this rabbit hole of less stuff like this and more stuff like this. Just junk I had never encountered before, but is charming in its own right, and maybe specifically because it's just not very good. And thankfully, it's one of those times where it's beneficial that YouTube picks up on the fact that you're watching this kind of stuff and they send you a bunch more. So I've really been enjoying being exposed to, again, just stuff that I probably never, ever would have come into contact with. And I do admire it. I admire, you know, these sometimes random and sometimes a little more self-serious channels uploading this kind of stuff and making it available. And it is a weird form of guerrilla preservation in a way. Even if the quality isn't exactly there, these aren't exactly nice remasters of old projects. They exist. They exist, and you know, we can't just assume that everything is being preserved all the time on the internet. It does take a certain amount of effort and and really picking things out that haven't been already saved. So there you go. And if you're interested in this as well, I think some of these are a good place to start. And again, YouTube will quickly pick up on the fact that you want more of this nonsense, so they will send it your way very happily. And yeah, I've been having a great time with it lately. But I think that brings us more or less to the end of the stream, just because of my talking stamina is coming to an end. But yeah, if anybody else has something they want to mention real quick or recommend or chat about, feel free. I'll hang about for a little bit longer here, and yeah, and then I'll finish up. Also, just a comment. This is I had this pulled up because I originally watched this studio's version of The Wind in the Willows. Really enjoyed it. And from there, I got recommended their version of Alice in Wonderland, which was nowhere near as good. Kind of funny in a bad way. But I did enjoy it. Yeah, I enjoyed Wind in the Willows, and another one of their movies that I'm forgetting about right now. So I was looking into them a bit more. They are an Australian studio. Despite their name, they're not based at all in Burbank, California. But yeah, over in Australia. I don't think they made it into my Australian animation video. I was wondering if they maybe did Blinky Bill or any of that stuff, but I don't think so. That does not seem to be the case. And yeah, they do not exist anymore, fortunately. Did quite a bit though. Look, Mulan, what are you talking about? I was hoping it would send us to the movie. But look at this. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Oh. So did they contribute to the Disney movies or what? I mean, wow. Okay. Well, I guess this is yet another rabbit hole that I'll travel down at some point. But that's very interesting. I did not think that Disney was using, third-party studios for those big classics, but I guess maybe I was wrong. I would also be interested to see their version of Puss in Boots. That sounds like a great time. Ooh, and 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. I love that story. Okay, cool. Awesome. All right, well, I'll go ahead and wrap up then. Well, as always, thank you so much to everybody here for the stream live. Really appreciate it, especially you guys here in the chat. Thank you, Wetness. Thank you, Ugo. Thanks for hanging out. But yeah, looking forward to some of the releases this month in the world of animation in particular. I will definitely be keeping an eye out for the Scott Pilgrim anime. Might have to sign back up for Netflix for that one. And a few other things on the way. I don't think it's until December that we get Dawn of the Nugget, but I am very, very interested in that as well. And yeah, again, I really do hope to have another video up soon enough, but it's taken a long, sweet time. Just reached the 25% of One Piece. It's a good mark. That's a good milestone, I think. I have been reading the manga there too. I kind of switched to the manga from the anime so I could speed things up a little bit. But not too far. I don't think I'm even at the 50% mark myself for One Piece. So we will get there, but it really is taking quite a while also. But yeah. Anyway. Yeah. That should be it. Oh, and of course, also thank you to anybody watching the archive version later on. I really do appreciate you folks. That's really great and helps out the channel a lot too. Cool. All right. I'm out of energy. I'm going to go make some dinner. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what I do, stick around the channel. And I'll see you next time. All right. Thanks for stopping by.